There are people there that are stressed, that feel that they're at capacity. Communities around the country that have legal immigration, many have said we're at capacity. And many feel like the government has said to them, well, adapt, sit down, be quiet. This is how it is. What would a Harris administration do for those communities who've taken in many, many legal immigrants but are at capacity?
Well, first of all, we do have a broken immigration system, and it needs to be fixed. And if we take a step back, months ago, some of the most conservative members of the United States Congress came together with others, proposed a border security bill that would have put 1,500 new border agents on the border to help those hardworking border agents who are there right now working around the clock. Would have put more money into stemming the flow of fentanyl, which is killing Americans around our country and devastating communities. Would have put more resources into our ability to prosecute transnational criminal organizations, which in my career I've prosecuted. Donald Trump got word of the bill, realized it was going to fix a problem he wanted to run on, and told him to kill the bill, don't put it up for a vote. He killed a bill that would have actually been a solution because he wants to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And that's part of what needs to be addressed. And my pledge is that when elected president, if the American people will have me, I will bring that bill back and I will sign it into law. And we need a comprehensive plan that includes what we need to do to fortify not only our border, but deal with the fact that we also need to create pathways for people to earn citizenship.
Wow, 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 as I always say. It just doesn't ever stop. She is a walking, talking idiot. Literally and figuratively, positively. The question was asked of her, what do you say to those towns in middle America, like Springfield, Ohio, in Minnesota, where you have dumped thousands, not just tens, not that's hundreds, but thousands and tens of thousands of people that are not assimilating into the United States. Different cultures, different religions, different traditions, different completely, and you are absolutely decimating those towns and those communities in terms of their resources being diverted from the American citizens that need them. And all Stephanie's asking Kamala is that, what do you say to those people that say, we need some help? You can't take a town of 40,000 and dump 20,000 people into our community within a span of a few years and expect everything to be great. We're being taxed on every type of social service available. Hospitals, schools, facilities, I mean, you name it. Services, city services, all kinds of police, all kinds of things. And what does Kamala do? She talks about first the need for reformed immigration. Well, why didn't the immigration bill? Well, why didn't you do that day one, when you and Biden stepped into office? Why is it taking you 3.5 years to present that bill? Then she talks about the fentanyl crisis that's occurring. It has nothing to do with these people. Yes, there's people in those communities that are being affected by the fentanyl, but that's not what they're talking about. Then you go on to say gobbledygook in terms of where it was killed by President Trump. Why? Because he wanted to run on a problem rather than fix it. Well, you had 3.5 years to fix it. Now you're deciding to run on it? And that bill, the main thing that bill did was provide money for 1,500 more border agents, not to secure the border, but to help them processing, because the administration currently right now, the Biden-Kamala administration, isn't turning those people away. They need people that can process them to come into the interior of the country so they can fly them, bus them in the middle of the night to these various communities and say, here, you deal with the problem, we're done. That's what's going on. She can't answer that question. People were just asking, what do we do? Can we get some help? And she gives the same status quo response, which is just a bunch of word salad, gobbledygook. It's just bullshit. Now, one of the intrepid reporters decides to ask a question to our young, soon-to-be voters and say, what did you think of Kamala Harris's answer? Or what do you think of Kamala Harris? Listen to this, folks. I'm going to play it because it's just a short little clip, but I'm going to play it a few times so you get the flavor of it. It's really seasoned quite well. Listen to this.
What's the first word that pops into your head when you hear the name Kamala Harris?
Liar.
What's the first word that pops into your head when you hear the name Kamala Harris?
Liar.
What's the first word that pops into your head when you hear the name Kamala Harris?
Liar.
So I thought you'd all enjoy that, okay? That is a young conservative Republican Trump supporter. Well, by the time he gets a vote, Trump will have been out of office again. But that is a young conservative Republican voter in the making, folks. Kudos to his parents. Absolutely. Kudos. Being well raised properly in politics. So, anyways, I wanted to get back to show you another clip of this absolutely train wreck of supposedly the new economic policy that is coming out from Kamala Harris that she did with the sit down from Stephanie Ruhle. Folks, check this next clip out. You talk about, again, dodging the question. It is amazing the word salads that Kamala Harris uses. I mean, not a single time, folks, not a single time is she absolutely on point with the question. Watch this.
You just said share, but they're not leaving our country.
Well, listen, I work with a lot of CEOs. I have spent a lot of time with CEOs, and I'm going to tell you that the business leaders who are actually part of the engine of America's economy agree that people should pay their fair share. They also agree that when we look at a plan such as mine that is about investing in the middle class, investing in new industries, investing in bringing down costs, invest in entrepreneurs like small businesses, that the overall economy is stronger and everyone benefits.
We'll get to these two in the next clip, all right? Nicole and Stephanie, as they sort of go, and you're going to see that smile, that smirk completely go away from Nicole in this next clip. But again, Kamala Harris is asked a question where she say, oh, all these business owners, they all want to pay their fair share of taxes. They all want to do their job. Billionaires, everybody. Why is it then that Warren Buffett is like fighting the IRS? I don't know if it's settled or not, but there were stories out there that he owed billions in taxes. Why is he trying to fight if, they want to pay their fair share? I'm just wondering. Every single billionaire, Bill Gates says, yeah, we need to pay our fair share. Well, you can stroke a check. You don't have to, but they have, hundreds, if not thousands of corporate attorneys, tax attorneys, working for them, trying to save every single freaking dollar. How can they avoid paying taxes legally? What can they do so they can keep as much money? Because it's a fiduciary responsibility for their shareholders to try to keep as much money as possible so it goes back into the company, not to the government. Anyways, let's see how Nicole reacts to Stephanie's answer on how Kamala answers or doesn't answer the questions. Folks, this is really precious. Watch this. So if you don't watch closely, you're going to see Nicole come up with a nice smile because she's expecting a certain answer. And then as Stephanie answers the question, check out the facial expressions of Nicole Wallace. Folks, you're not going to want to miss this.
Talk about that answer.
I do, but here's what's a little tricky. she doesn't answer the question around if the GOP is controlling the Senate, if she can't raise corporate taxes, where is she going to get the money from? To expand the child tax credit and do all the things she wants to do. And she says, we just have to do it. And that's great, and that's a campaign promise. But the issue is, if it means we're just going to borrow again, then what we're doing is we're just never addressing the deficit. And back in the days when you were a proud Republican, debts and deficits mattered.
So there's the smile as we saw. Watch. It's getting even bigger. Oh, it's starting to fade. Oh, starting to fade some more. Oh, it's starting to fade. There it is. What happened to your smile, Nicole? It's getting smaller and smaller. Ugh, she doesn't like the answer. Look at what's going on. And then finally to the purse lips. That's what happens, folks, when you don't get the answer that you want on MSLSD. Now, all this leads me to the fact that there is something that's out in the Daily Mail that shows that Trump is expanding his lead, and he's now 10 percentage points ahead in terms of winning the election. They ran a simulation of 8,000 election results, and Trump won 55% of the time. Kamala Harris won 45% of the time. Let's go to those details, folks. This will knock your socks off. Check this out. So as you can see, the Daily Mail, it says Kamala Harris may have enjoyed her most successful campaign weeks. According to JL Partners, dailymail.com election model, it shows Donald Trump opening up a 10-point lead. This model crunches all the latest poll data as well as decades worth of election results plus economic indicators to calculate who has the best chance of winning the Electoral College in November. Now, it still shows that Harris has the best chance of claiming victory in the popular vote. It gives her nearly a 51% support now and a 65% chance of finishing with more votes in November. But if you take a look at the state-by-state numbers, they all show the blue wall. Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, tilting towards Trump's, giving him the overall advantage when it comes to winning the White House. It's giving him a 55.2% chance of victory. Harris is 44.6%, small chance of a tie. They use national and state level polls. They simulate the course of the election around 8,000 times. Basically what they say is from this they can extract the probability of each candidate winning a state and then the probability that that candidate wins the Electoral College. So, they're saying the best way to understand what it all means is to imagine running the model multiple times with all the different permutations and combinations for all the different states. When they're run, Trump's about 55%. It said this is an increase of 4 points since Monday and 9 points since after they say he was at his lowest after the debate. They go on to say that either way it shows the race will be close despite the monumental events of the past 2 months. Now, let's see here. It does say that while September saw her gain ground as a result of the debate, which I don't agree with at all, I think if you take a look, Independent just ran away from her, so I differ in that regard, but he's still up ahead. It just says that if current trends continue, we do see that Trump may take a more concrete lead in the race over the coming few weeks. September seems to have been Harris's high point, and the trend suggests his high point has come to an end. That's basically what they're saying. So if you continue on here, it also talks about the fundraising, record-breaking boosts that Harris enjoyed. They talk about how she bested Trump in the debate. Stylistically, maybe she did. But as far as garnering independent votes, she did not. So, what's the current state of play? Right now, they've got Harris at 251, Trump at 287. That's what this pollster is saying. And you know what? It's JL Partners. It's a dailymail.com. let's just continue and hope that these guys have run their simulations to the best of their ability. So far, looking quite good for Donald Trump as of today. Anyways, folks, we appreciate you taking the time to watch. You've been watching the Dr. Nasser Sheikh Show. I've been your host. My name is Dr. Nasser. If you've been done so already, subscribe to our channel, like, share, and follow. Y'all know what to do. Take a look at our links here. My final thought is always, when you're right, and when you're left, you're wrong. Until next time, folks, take care and stay safe.